Welcome to this revision that we're doing about the top 20 public companies in the world. So today is the opportunity to check at one of my favorite companies, Alibaba Group Holding. This behemoth, this Goliath of the e-commerce, of the internet. So I think it's one of the biggest stars in the world that is providing a great service to humanity. Actually. So let's start. Let's start with Alibaba Group, and I think it's one of these type of stories that everybody loves about a guy that it's not that technical entrepreneur. Because, for instance, we have Microsoft, this big genius, Bill Gates, and we have also Mark Zuckerberg, also a very good programmer of software, and we have Elon Musk, also a genius in technology. But in this case, Jack Ma, he is an English teacher. He's not actually, he doesn't know how to program, or at least when he started Alibaba. But what is very interesting is his focus and the way that he was able to motivate people and to put people together that really knew how to do things, and to motivate them, and also get the resources that are needed to advance the idea, and also being a visionary. That I think that's one of the type of things that people love about this story about Jack Ma. He was born in 1964, and while in history it says that by 1988 he was struggling attending college, and he failed the entrance exam to be a teacher twice. And he always tells that in his interviews that he was struggling in this country of China, where there's a lot of fierce competition, people that are trying to get all the jobs. And at one point he applied to, for instance, 24 places in his hometown, and he was rejected to all of them. He applied even to a KFC, and he never got the jobs. And he even says that he applied to Harvard University 10 times, and 10 times was rejected. So he then started to studying English and trying to be translator for people that went to China in his bicycles, and providing them tours, And but what happened is, that by 1994, when he was 30 something years old, he found out this new technology that happened in the humanity, because in 20th century, there were two big revolutions, or two big technologies that changed the way that the humanity works. One is the atomic bomb, and the other was by the end of the century. By the end of by the end of the decade of the 1990s, or by the the internet was appearing. And he found out that this situation where he was basically a translator, from China. He went one day to the US and was trying to do some search in the internet about products in China, and he found that nobody was developing any websites, or there was no information about China when he tried to find beers, for instance, or other things. So he noticed that it was a very good opportunity to bring, or to be the startup of internet, and bring it to provide service in China. And that's how he came up with this idea, So he first started a company of providing websites to Chinese companies, first a translator agency that didn't work out. And then by 1995, this is what I'm trying to tell you, that he launched a company where he convinced his friends to program the new websites for Chinese companies. There he made some good money, maybe $800,000. This website was called ChinaPages.com, but it's not actually like a real business. He was just doing tests and websites, and working very hard. And then he then finally, at age 35, from 1998 to 1999, he was working for a technology company, also providing them electronic commerce center. And then he said, he put together his friends, 17 friends and students, in his apartment, and told them, well, let's just start this new company, Alibaba, and let's provide business to business marketplace sites, and that's how they started. They started with a first round of venture development with 500,000 yuan, and then that's how after fighting a lot, no, in China, then they went and convinced Goldman Sachs and SoftBank to do a $25 million investment. I think probably because of so many times that they tried to do this investment, and then he also had this track record, no, of trying to do these internet companies. Then he had a case, no, he had built a case about the importance of internet into China, no, and I think that if you are U.S. investor or a U.S. person that is trying to do business in China, well, this barrier of the language is going to not allow you to take the most of what you can of the Chinese market. I think that's like a big moat, no? That it's like it's very difficult for people from the U.S. trying to do business in China, no? And Jack Ma took advantage of this situation, and they quickly convinced his people to start working very hard to convert this company into profitable. No, so by third year they were already profitable. This is 2002. So let's remember that in this time is when the U.S. internet bubble collapsed. No, so many companies that were based on this new idea of internet became unprofitable or broke, and many people who were doing big bets on these startups of internet lost a lot of money. However, Alibaba was able to go to circumnavigate this situation, and by 2004 they just started understanding better the necessities of the Chinese market. So this was also very interesting because U.S. companies like eBay wanted to participate into the Chinese market, but didn't understand very well the business or the way that people in China work. And Alibaba, Jack Ma did have that understanding of the customer, no? So that provided them a lot of advantage, no? In 2004, Alibaba Group launched Alipay, which is a third-party online payment platform. This Alipay company that provides escrow service and where buyers can verify whether they are happy with the goods that they have bought before releasing the money. So this was a spin-off of Alibaba, and later by 2020 they were trying to put that company as a unicorn called Ant Financial Services. So this very interesting person that has this vision about the internet in China also created this big monster that it's called right now Ant Financial Services, no? But that's a different story about from Alibaba, no? However, Alibaba is still a stockholder of this company, no? So Alibaba then released several services like instant messaging software. In 2005, Yahoo invested in Alibaba through a variable interest entity structure, buying 40% of the company for $1 billion. Right now, the company is way more than $1 billion of this valuation. By 2007, Alibaba went public in the Hong Kong Stock Exchange, and then they've been in 2009. Alibaba, since they are like an internet company, they started to provide Alibaba Cloud, which is a cloud computing service platform, and by 2010 they launched several group shopping websites. In 2009, Alibaba acquired Hi China, the largest domain registration service. So Alibaba is more than a marketplace. It's a lot of the different companies that give different services by internet, no? So if you want to think about Alibaba, it's not necessarily the Amazon of China, but it's more than that. And it's in a country that has a lot of space to grow because there are a lot of rural areas in China. There are 1 billion people. It's not exactly the same since the US, we have 350 million people that are in a very advanced economy where things work a lot. In China, it's a country that is massive, but that it's in development. So I think that Alibaba has a lot of space to grow. However, the purchase power of the Chinese people is way lower than the US, no? And we have this Communist Party that has control of many of the companies that operate in China. So that's another difference than Amazon, no? For instance. By 2013, Jack Ma stepped down as the CEO of Alibaba, and he first chose Jonathan Lu as the successor. And we can see in the history how they've been acquiring different businesses, logistics companies. They also bought a company that provides, we call it cement and mortar businesses, brick and mortar. So they are also trying to establish physical stores, no? Here it's in 2014. It's also interesting. After they delisted from the Hong Kong Stock Exchange in 2012, but by 2014 they listed in the New York Stock Exchange, and it was the largest IPO in the world history. So they rose $25 billion in that moment of the IPO. And as I was telling you, they are right now acquiring media groups for doing productions of media, entertainment, online entertainment. So they are also somehow competitors of Netflix and Amazon Prime, etc. However, they are doing it with this big moat of servicing the Chinese market, no? And so I really like Alibaba. Right now, they are considered the 5th artificial intelligence company in the world. They are, of course, the largest B2B marketplace in the world. They are the largest consumer-to-consumer marketplace in the world. And they are a media industry, as I was telling you. And they have these electronic payment services, cloud computing services. So it's a very complete company of internet. So it's also interesting, no? Because normally people who are here in America only think about the big companies in the US, but Alibaba is very, very interesting. So let's just take a look at the financials. Here you can see how we only have data by 2014 because that's where they did the IPO of the US. And see, it's surprising, it's amazing, no? How in 2014 they had total assets of $20 billion, and 6 years later now they have $200 billion of total assets, no? And it's a monster of growth, no? See, you can notice how shareholders' equity went from $20 billion to $134 billion. This is because probably the rounds of financing, but also you can notice how it is very, very well financed, see, because the intangible assets are not that big, although it's a big growth from $2 billion to $52 billion. However, you can notice how the shareholders' equity, it's the vast majority of the financing of the total assets. So I think it's a company that it's very interesting how it is financed. It's strong. What they do with the money is they do these big stock investments, and they have a lot of cash. They have a pile of cash. They have almost $55 billion of cash and equivalent ready. At least that this is 2020, no, when the pandemic started. Look at the millions of consumers. So before they used to serve $300 million of consumers, and by now they are almost serving $1 billion of 1 billion consumers. Sorry, it's not dollars. So how much do they get from each of these consumers every year? So in 2014, they used to sell $30 per consumer, and they have almost more than double it. So right now they have sales of $82 per consumer of these almost 1 billion consumers. And the net profit that they get for every of these consumers, they get $23 by now. And here it is. We can see how the growth has been doing between $9 billion 6 years ago, and now they have sales of almost $80 billion. And most of their income, a very important majority of their income, is from the investment that they do in stocks. And that makes the net profit goes very fast, no, very quick. I like this company a lot. I know that they are right now facing some regulations of their total government, because they, sorry, of their government in China, because they are being accused for being monopolistic. However, it's very interesting. They have this big, I think, advantage of their brand, that people recognize Alibaba as a brand to go if you want to do business with Chinese people. And it's very costly probably to switch to other alternatives. So that makes that more and more people get into Alibaba and use it more. If I've noticed that if you want to sell some products in Amazon, for instance, you go to Alibaba to get your suppliers to sell to the Amazon. No, so it would be very interesting to look of how much of what is sold in Amazon is produced by the Alibaba. No, so I really like this company, and I think that's it for this video. If you want to know more about investments, well, just contact me. Here's the website. Here's our Facebook page, and I'll be very happy to hear from you. And have a great day, and thank you for taking your time to looking at this video. Thank you.